Did you ever think that something as simple as your dinner could quietly be working against you? If your legs feel heavy at night, your feet swell by morning, or you're waking up more tired than when you went to bed, it might not be your age to blame. It could be what's sitting on your plate. Most people over 65 never imagine their evening meals being linked to kidney fatigue or leg pain. But every day, your body is either healing or holding on to stress from what you eat. In this video, we'll break down the 6 most common dinner habits that could be silently hurting your legs and damaging your kidneys. You'll hear real stories, learn practical swaps, and see how small changes can make a big difference. Let's get started. Most people in their 60s and 70s think leg pain, swelling, or feeling stiff in the morning is just part of getting older. But what if those symptoms weren't just age catching up with you? What if your dinner, something you've eaten for years without a second thought, is quietly making things worse? Every day, thousands of older adults experience heaviness in their legs, poor sleep, and unexplained fatigue. And often, the real reason is right there on their plate. In this video, you'll learn how common foods, even ones labeled healthy, could be flooding your body with hidden sodium, sugar, or fats that your kidneys can no longer handle the way they used to. It's not about fear. It's about understanding, so you can make smarter choices and feel your best again. As we get older, our bodies change. Your kidneys may not filter as quickly. Your blood vessels may not bounce back the way they used to, and your digestion might take a little longer, especially in the evening. But here's the part most people miss. The foods we've eaten for decades can become harmful, not because they were always bad, but because our bodies process them differently now. You might think you're doing fine, but if you wake up with swollen ankles, leg cramps, or foggy energy, your dinner could be quietly working against you. This video will walk you through 6 common foods or habits that sound harmless, but could be contributing to poor sleep, heavy legs, and long-term kidney stress. Simple shifts can lead to real relief. Let's start with one of the most common hidden problems in many American dinners: too much sodium. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I don't even use a salt shaker at the table. And that might be true. But sodium has a sneaky way of getting into our meals without us noticing. Take Margaret, for example. She's 74 and always thought she was eating healthy. No chips, no fast food, no extra salt on her plate. Most nights, she'd heat a light frozen dinner, maybe have a cup of vegetable soup and a little canned fruit for dessert. Simple, easy, sounds reasonable, right? But when she started waking up with swollen ankles, pressure in her legs, and tight shoes every morning, she knew something was off. Her doctor didn't find anything serious, so she visited a local senior center workshop. That's where a nutritionist broke it down. Her light, frozen dinner had almost 900 milligrams of sodium. The vegetable soup added another 700, and the canned fruit, full of preservatives and syrup. Altogether, she was getting more than 2,000 milligrams of sodium just at dinner. That's the entire recommended limit for the whole day. Here's what happens as we age. Our kidneys naturally slow down. They're still working, but they don't clear sodium as efficiently. And sodium, by its nature, holds onto water. So the more sodium in your system, the more fluid your body retains. That means swelling in your legs and feet, pressure in your calves, and extra work for your kidneys when they should be resting. So what did Margaret do? She didn't throw out everything in her kitchen. She made a few smart swaps. She started making homemade soup using low-sodium broth and fresh vegetables. She swapped canned fruit for a sliced apple or a handful of berries. And she started checking nutrition labels for sodium, even on foods that claim to be healthy. Within 3 weeks, the swelling went down. Her legs felt lighter. Her sleep improved. And she said her mornings finally felt normal again. The lesson here is simple. Sodium hides in everyday items. Even foods that seem healthy or say low-fat can be loaded with salt. But once you know where to look, you could take control. Small changes, big relief. And that's just the beginning. Margaret's story isn't rare. Many older adults fall into the same trap, thinking that if food is labeled low-fat or light, it must be good for you. But here's a tip. Always check the sodium line on the label. If it's over 400 milligrams per serving, and you're having more than one item like that, the numbers add up fast. And don't forget the sauces, condiments, and package sides. Things like salad dressings, crackers, Evan, and healthy soups often sneak in salt where you least expect it. The goal isn't to be perfect. It's to be aware. Think of your kidneys as a sponge. When they're young, they absorb and release fluids efficiently. But as you age, that sponge stiffens. It holds more than it lets go. And sodium just makes that worse. By lowering your evening sodium, you give your kidneys a break, and your legs, your sleep, and your energy all benefit. So tonight, maybe skip the box dinner and try something fresh. Your future self will be glad you did. Joe, 72, had been a construction worker all his life. Strong hands, tough back, and the kind of appetite that came from years of hard labor. He wasn't one to complain. But over the last year, something changed. He started waking up with tight legs. Some mornings, his calves felt like they had knots. His lower back ached, and the stiffness in his joints made getting out of bed feel like work all over again. His wife thought it was arthritis. His doctor ran some tests. Nothing showed up. It wasn't until Joe met with a dietitian that the real cause came to light. His dinners. Joe loved steak, and pork chops, and ribs. He believed in eating meat like a man should. Most nights, he'd fire up the grill, toss on a thick cut of beef, and pair it with potatoes and green beans. Comforting, familiar, but heavy. Red meat, especially at night, is hard for the body to process. It's full of dense protein and saturated fats. These nutrients are not bad in moderation, but they require a lot of work to break down, especially for kidneys that are slowing down with age. Your body wants to rest at night. It wants to repair, reduce inflammation, and restore energy. But when you give it a large portion of red meat at 7 or 8 o'clock, your digestive system has to keep running over time. Your kidneys are still processing the nitrogen waste from all that protein. That means less deep sleep, more inflammation, and more tension in the legs and joints by morning. So what did Joe do? He didn't give up meat. Not even close. He just moved it. He started having his steak at lunch. That way, his body had all day to process it. For dinner, he swapped in lighter proteins, like grilled salmon, lentils, or a simple vegetable stir-fry with quinoa. Within weeks, his morning stiffness eased. The leg cramps faded. He started waking up refreshed. It wasn't a diet. It was a shift in timing. The lesson here? Red meat isn't evil. But when you eat, it matters, especially as you get older. If your dinners feel heavy, your mornings probably will too. So think about that next steak. Maybe enjoy it at noon. Give your kidneys the night off. Your sleep, your joints, and your legs will thank you. Joe's story is a good reminder that getting older doesn't mean giving up the foods you enjoy. It just means understanding how your body handles them differently. Think of it like this. Your digestion and kidneys are like a team. During the day, they're active and strong. At night, they're supposed to be on break. But if you drop a full load of protein on them before bed, you're asking them to pull an overnight shift. And here's something else. Red meat is also rich in something called purines. These can lead to a buildup of uric acid, especially when eaten late and in large amounts. That can add to joint stiffness and inflammation, making things worse for older adults with any signs of arthritis or gout. Joe didn't know any of that before, but once he made the switch, it changed how he felt each day. And the good news? His love for steak didn't go anywhere. He just enjoyed it earlier and felt stronger because of it. That's the kind of wisdom that comes with age, not cutting out but shifting around. It's a simple change, but for your kidneys and your legs, it can make all the difference. Carol, 70, considered herself pretty healthy. She cooked most of her meals at home, avoided desserts, and never touched soda. But she still added a little something to make her dinners taste better. A dollop of barbecue sauce on her chicken, a spoonful of ketchup on roasted potatoes, and a drizzle of honey mustard on her salad. Nothing excessive, just flavor. Then came the burning sensation in her legs at night. A strange tingling in her feet made it hard to relax. Her doctor tested her for diabetes. Everything came back normal. Her blood pressure, also fine. So, what was going on? A nutritionist finally helped her connect the dots. Those tiny tablespoons of sauce, they were packed with hidden sugar and sodium. Barbecue sauce, ketchup, and even so-called light dressings often contain high fructose corn syrup, preservatives, and salt. And Carol was using them daily, right at dinner. It might not seem like much, but those sweet sauces can create small spikes in blood sugar, especially when the body is preparing for sleep. And those spikes can trigger inflammation in the tiniest blood vessels, in your legs, feet, and kidneys. The result? Heaviness, swelling, that pins and needles feeling. And worse, over time, those little bursts of inflammation can damage your circulation and kidney function without you even noticing. Carol didn't need to cut flavor out of her life. She just needed to make a few smart swaps. She started mixing olive oil with vinegar, lemon, or garlic for her salad. She found mustard with no added sugar. She even learned to make a simple tomato sauce from scratch, using fresh tomatoes and herbs. It wasn't just healthier. It tasted better. Within 2 weeks, that burning feeling in her legs faded. She felt lighter and more energetic in the morning. And the lesson stuck. Sauces don't need to be scary, but they do need to be understood. Read your labels. Watch for sugar and sodium content. And ask yourself, is this really helping me feel better tomorrow? Because 1 tablespoon might not seem like much, but over weeks and months, it adds up. Carol still enjoys her food. She just does it smarter. And now, her dinners feel just as good the next morning as they did the night before. And here's something most people never think about. Even if you only use 1 or 2 tablespoons of sauce, those small servings can contain over 10 grams of sugar or more than 200 milligrams of sodium. When you add that to what's already in your main dish, the total load becomes significant, especially for your kidneys, which are already working harder at night. Older adults are more sensitive to these hidden ingredients. As your metabolism slows, your body cannot clear excess sugars and salts as efficiently as it once did. This means longer-lasting inflammation and a slower recovery. And here's the kicker. Companies market these sauces as healthy, low-fat, or natural. But the truth is, if it comes in a bottle and sits on a shelf for months, it likely contains preservatives or added sugars to keep it tasting good and looking fresh. Carol said something that stuck with her dietitian. She said, "I thought I was being good because I skipped dessert. But dinner sauces can be dessert in disguise." Now, when Carol shops, she checks the ingredients like she checks prices. She's not perfect. She still enjoys ketchup once in a while. But now she uses it mindfully, not automatically. That's the real shift. Awareness, not restriction. So the next time you reach for that bottle of dressing, take a second look. Maybe you can mix your own instead. Maybe you try lemon and garlic, or a little balsamic. It might seem small, but your legs, your kidneys, and your sleep will all notice the difference. Just like Carol did. Harold, 76, was a retired firefighter who prided himself on staying active. Every morning, he walked 2 miles. He ate fairly clean, drank plenty of water, and avoided most fast food. But he had one habit he loved, his nighttime snack. Every evening around 8:30, Harold would settle into his favorite chair, turn on the news, and enjoy a few crackers with cheddar cheese and a glass of cold milk. It was his way to relax after a long day. But then the mornings got harder. He began waking up with stiff calves. His toes felt numb, and some days his legs felt like they weighed more than they should. He thought maybe it was poor circulation or that his age was finally catching up to him. His doctor ran tests. Everything looked fine. No signs of nerve damage. No major issues with his heart or blood sugar. So what was going on? At a local wellness seminar, Harold described his routine. A nutritionist raised an eyebrow when he mentioned the cheese and milk. Try cutting that back, she said, and shift it earlier. Here's why. Cheese is dense in saturated fat and sodium. Milk, while often considered healthy, still contains natural sugars and fat that are hard for older bodies to break down quickly, especially at night. As we age, digestion slows. Kidneys take longer to process excess salt and fluid. Eating salty, fatty dairy late in the evening can lead to fluid retention in the legs, restricted blood flow, and poor overnight recovery. Harold made a few small changes. He switched from cheddar to a small portion of goat cheese, lower in sodium and easier on digestion. He swapped milk for unsweetened almond milk. And most importantly, he had his snack an hour earlier. In less than 2 weeks, the numbness eased. His legs felt lighter. He was sleeping better and waking up with more energy. He still enjoyed his ritual. It just worked better for his body. The takeaway here is simple. You don't have to give up the things you love. But timing and quantity matter, especially with dairy. If your legs feel stiff in the morning or your sleep feels interrupted, look at that evening snack. Sometimes it's not what you eat, it's when you eat it. And like Harold, a small shift can bring real relief. What Harold didn't realize before is that nighttime is when your body is trying to rest and repair. If your kidneys are still working to process salt, sugar, and fat, they don't get that break. And when your blood flow is slightly reduced by the heaviness of certain foods, your legs can feel the consequences. It's not just about one snack. It's about patterns. And for older adults, dairy at night can quietly throw off that delicate balance. Cheese might seem like a small thing, but 1 ounce can have over 200 milligrams of sodium. Add crackers and milk to that, and your evening snack could rival the salt content of a fast food meal. That doesn't mean cheese is bad. It means timing matters, portion size matters, and knowing your body matters even more. Harold took the time to learn what his body needed now, not what worked 20 years ago. And that's what made the difference. So if you're waking up stiff or your legs feel swollen or tired, ask yourself, what did I eat before bed? It might be time for a gentler choice. Your legs, your sleep, and your kidneys will thank you for it. Eleanor, 71, had always kept her meals simple. She believed in home cooking. No taku, no frozen tras, just grilled chicken, a few vegetables, and either white rice or a slice of soft white bread. But recently, something had been waking her up. Around 3 in the morning, her legs felt heavy, almost numb. Her calves ached. She'd get out of bed and stretch, but it barely helped. Her mornings started with fatigue, and her nights were restless. She brought it up at her next doctor's appointment. Tests came back normal. Blood pressure was fine. No signs of diabetes or nerve damage. Still, Eleanor knew something wasn't right. After keeping a food log for a week, her dietitian noticed the pattern. Refined carbs at dinner. White bread, white rice, and regular pasta are quick to digest. They're stripped of fiber and nutrients. That means they turn into glucose fast, causing a quick rise and crash in blood sugar. And when this spike happens at night, it messes with your sleep. Your body wants to wind down, but the sudden sugar rush makes your blood vessels expand and contract rapidly. That can lead to tingling in the legs, muscle tightness, and restless sleep. Eleanor was surprised. It's just rice and bread, she said. But her dietitian explained it this way. Your body at night is like a house settling down. Turning off lights, locking doors. And refined carbs are like slamming a window open. That stuck with her. So she made 3 changes. First, she swapped her white bread for sprouted grain toast. Then, she replaced her white rice with brown rice or quinoa. And finally, she added leafy greens to dinner, things like spinach, kale, or arugula, to slow digestion and stabilize blood sugar. Within days, she noticed a difference. Her sleep improved. The heaviness in her legs faded. She woke up feeling clearer, lighter, and she didn't feel like she was on a diet, just a smarter path. If your meals rely on refined carbs, especially at night, you might not notice the impact right away. But your legs do. Your sleep does. Your kidneys do. So take a second look at your dinner plate. Comfort food can still be comforting without the crash. Just ask Eleanor. Here is the part most people miss. Refined carbs do not just spike your blood sugar. Over time, they also train your body to expect those late-night glucose rushes. And it sets up a cycle. The more you rely on fast carbs, the harder it is for your body to rest and recover properly overnight. And for older adults, this cycle wears on the kidneys. When blood sugar goes up and crashes down, your kidneys have to respond by filtering more, adjusting fluid levels, and managing insulin fluctuations. That is a lot of work for organs that are naturally slowing down. Eleanor did not realize that these little changes, choosing brown rice instead of white or adding fiber from greens, could give her kidneys a break. But that is the beauty of it. It did not take a major diet overhaul. It just took awareness. Now, dinner is something she looks forward to. It fuels her sleep instead of fighting it. And she feels the difference each morning. If you have ever blamed your legs, your sleep, or your age, take a moment and ask, what did I eat last night? You might find the answer is on your plate. And like Eleanor, you can do something about it. Richard, 75, was never much of a drinker. But after dinner, he had a habit. Most nights, he would pour himself a small glass of red wine or fix a tall glass of sweet iced tea while winding down with the evening news. He thought it helped him sleep. It relaxed him, and it felt like a little reward after a quiet day. Then came the leg cramps, sharp ones in the middle of the night. He'd twist and turn, sometimes getting out of bed to walk them off. Other times, he'd wake up drenched in sweat or needing to use the bathroom more than once before sunrise. At first, he figured it was just part of aging. But during a routine checkup, his doctor noticed a small dip in kidney function and signs of mild dehydration. That's when someone finally asked, "What do you drink at night?" It clicked. Alcohol, even in small amounts, is a diuretic. That means it tells your body to flush out fluids. And when that happens at night, it leads to dehydration, interrupted sleep, and overworked kidneys. Not to mention, it can disrupt your natural sleep cycle, especially deep rest. Sugary drinks are no better. Sweet tea, flavored water, fruit juice, even if they seem gentle, load your body with glucose at the exact time it should be settling down. That sugar can cause spikes and crashes in blood sugar levels, triggering inflammation and irritating the tiny blood vessels in your legs and kidneys. It adds up slowly, but night after night, it can wear you down. Richard made a change. He swapped his wine for a warm herbal tea. Chamomile, cinnamon spice, or rooibos became part of his new bedtime routine. And for something cool, he infused water with slices of cucumber, lemon, or mint. Still tasty, still comforting, but far easier on his body. Within 2 weeks, the leg cramps faded. His sleep improved. His mornings felt better. He still had his ritual, but now it worked with his body, not against it. So if you have a drink after dinner, just take a moment and ask, how do I feel afterward? You may not need to stop, but you may want to swap. Your kidneys will rest easier. Your legs will thank you, and you'll wake up ready to start the day, not recover from the night before. Richard's experience is not unique. Many older adults turn to small nighttime rituals like wine or sweet drinks because they offer comfort. They feel harmless, even beneficial. After all, red wine has been marketed as heart healthy. And tea? That sounds gentle enough. But when it comes to how your body handles liquids after dinner, the story changes with age. Your kidneys are slower to filter at night. Your bladder becomes more sensitive, and any extra fluid, especially with sugar or alcohol, can trigger more bathroom trips and muscle discomfort. Think of your body like a battery. Evening is when you recharge. But if you're forcing your organs to stay active instead of powering down, you start the next day half full. Richard started noticing that once he cut back on those evening drinks, he not only slept better, but his legs stopped aching and his back felt more rested. It was not magic. It was just less strain. The takeaway? Nighttime habits matter more than we think. So before you reach for that drink, ask yourself, is this helping my body recover or making it work harder? A small change tonight could lead to a stronger tomorrow. Now that we have walked through all 6 dinner habits, let's take a moment to look at the big picture. It is not just one thing causing your legs to ache or your kidneys to feel overworked. It is the combination. A little too much sodium in your soup, red meat late at night, a drizzle of sugary sauce, a block of cheese before bed, a bowl of white rice, a glass of sweet tea to finish it off. Each one may not seem like a big deal on its own, but together, night after night, they place silent pressure on your body, and the signs show up slowly. You wake up stiff, your feet swell, you feel tired even after a full night's sleep. It creeps in without warning, and you might think this is just aging. But the truth is these things can change. Just like Margaret, Joe, Carol, Harold, Eleanor, and Richard, you can make small shifts. You can feel lighter in the morning. You can breathe easier knowing your kidneys are not being pushed so hard every single night. And it does not take a strict diet. It just takes awareness. The power is already in your hands, on your plate, in the way you finish your day. So take what you have learned and let it guide your next dinner. Your future self will thank you for it. We have covered a lot, and hopefully you now see how powerful your dinner habits can be. It is not just about what you eat. It is about when, how much, and how often. Too much sodium causes swelling. Heavy red meat keeps your kidneys working all night. Sweet sauces spike your blood sugar. Dairy slows down circulation. Refined carbs crash your energy. Sugary drinks interrupt your sleep. But you also heard stories from real people. Margaret, Joe, Carol, Harold, Eleanor, and Richard. They each made small changes. Nothing drastic. Just smarter timing and better choices. And the results? Less pain, more energy, better mornings. That could be you too. You do not need to throw everything out or follow a strict plan. Just start by noticing your patterns. Swap one thing this week. Try one change at a time. A better night's sleep, a lighter step, a more refreshed morning. It all starts with your plate. You are in control now. If this video helped you learn something new, let me know in the comments. Type the word 6 if you made it through all 6 habits. And if you're ready to feel better, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We are building a community of smart, caring people who want to take back control of their health, one small choice at a time. You are not alone, and you are never too old to feel your best again.